Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Two Guys Zero Planners, brought to you by Pen Chalet. If you want great stationery at good prices with fast shipping and free shipping on orders over $50 in the US, head on over to penchalet.com. There, you can earn your way towards a free bottle of ink with their Ink Rewards program, and it's 2-for-1 points on the 24th of every month. So, head on over to Pen Chalet, click that radio podcast link at the top of the page, and enter 2 Guys. That's the number 2 Guys, all one word, for 10% off site-wide. And thank you to Pen Chalet for sponsoring Two Guys Zero Planners. So, Urban, I know I say this a lot, but you've got quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, somehow in those 2 weeks, stuff suddenly appeared on my doorstep. I don't know what happened. Not my fault at all.
How is this not your fault?
Okay. Well, maybe
I
it
mean,
is.
normally one knows when they make purchases.
Yeah. But they sort of appeared. I made them over a longer period of time, and they just happened to arrive all in those 2 weeks.
Okay. So the shipping just worked out that way.
Yeah. No. I have a lot of ink pens now because, of course, I had to try them all.
Fair enough. So the one pen to rule them all has gone out the window temporarily.
Yeah. Let's see how temporarily. I mean, it was not a surprise that this didn't work, but yeah, let's see.
So the first one you've got here is the Ranga Model 4.
Yes. So that was a secondhand purchase. Someone sort of offered it. So it's a clear demonstrator, handmade Indian pen. And it was, not that expensive. So I thought, let's also explore Indian pens and not just Chinese pens. So I got that one. Fairly big pen. Has a Bock number 6 size nib. And it was an interesting journey to get it to be as good as I wanted it to be.
Interesting journey, nothing. I mean, okay, so you ended up having to drill out the cap a little bit. And what is this with scissors?
Yeah, so first thing is, this has a Bock nib unit, right? So you should be able to fit a standard international converter. Turns out the inner diameter of the section wasn't wide enough to actually fit the converter. There were some bits left over from when it was made, so the converter just didn't fit. And so I used some scissors because I didn't have any proper tools for it to sort of scrape the inside of the section tiny bit until I could fit the converter. So that was step number 1. And then I finally had a pen that was inked. And then I capped the inked pen, and then I realized about the last, half turn, the tip of the nib touches the inside of the cap.
And that's never a good thing. That's an easy way to mess up your tines.
Yeah. I mean, I was really I then checked the nib and I used it for a while like that, and it would have been fine. I mean, if it hadn't been transparent, I probably wouldn't even have noticed that there was anything wrong. But in a demo pen, that sort of, I just couldn't leave it like that.
Yeah, that would make me cringe.
Yeah. So I took the pen to my dad's workshop, and then we used the drill, and we drilled it out a tiny bit. And now it's fine. So, I mean, the first thing I tried is I tried putting in a different nib. So I have a cursive italic nib that I thought, maybe that's a tiny bit shorter. Maybe that works. So it only touched the inside of the cap in the last, quarter turn. But I still wanted to make it better. And so now it's fine. And I can eventually try it again with a new, well, I don't know. I might yeah, I mean, there's still some imperfections.
So, I mean, other than having to tweak it like that, what are your overall thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's a nice pen. I mean, of it is the only downside maybe is that it's 3 turns to uncap, which is not really horrible, but it's sort of on the upper end of what's comfortable for me, I think. So it's not like you can quickly uncap it and write with it. But other than that, it's a really nice balanced pen, and I really enjoy using it. So yeah, I think it will get some use now that it's working fine.
No, I mean, I know it's a demonstrator, but is it more of a? It's not really a like true transparent demonstrator. It's kind of got a frosted look.
Yeah, so it's the material is really clear, but it's sort of sanded a bit on the outside.
Oh, okay.
That's why it looks like that.
I was about to say it kind of looks like it got beat up pretty bad, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, some people like that scuffed translucent look. For me, I don't know. And anytime I've got a demonstrator, I always want it to be like crystal.
I like it. I like it that way. I mean, there are some spots that are a bit uneven. That's sort of not perfect. Maybe I'll fix those too. I don't know. I'm still unsure if it's inside of the pen or on the outside, and if it's like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. And in the end, I don't know. Next step is probably making my own pens. I don't know.
Well, if you do that, I've got plenty of drawings, and they may end up in your lap with money and blanks from some unknown person.
I don't know. I'm just, yeah. Let me retire first, maybe. I don't know.
What is this retirement you speak of?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's true. Yeah. Well, let's say maybe when the kids are out of the house, maybe that's better.
Okay, there you go. I guess that's a form of retirement.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah. With that pen came sort of a second pen. So this is one of those really, really cheap Indian pens. Oftentimes you get them as a freebie with other pens and so this one is a piston filler. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much to say about it, actually. It writes surprisingly well, and it's also very wet. The ebonite feed helps, and the nib is super, super stiff. Actually, for a pen that doesn't cost anything, or it's like, I think if you buy them, it's like $5-6 or something. It's actually pretty nice.
It definitely has an interesting look to it, and it's got an ebonite feed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is sort of the piston filler version. With another Indian pen, I got a very similar one. That's an eyedropper. So even more basic like that, but the nib is the same. The cap is very similar, and overall the look is pretty much the same.
Okay. I mean, it's got an interesting look to it, but yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell it's got the high, I'm a cheap, extremely entry level pen feel to it, at least from the pictures.
Yeah, but I enjoy them those two more than I thought I would, actually.
As far as the actual mechanics of it, I mean, is it a loose piston, or what's going on with that? Because on a lot of the lower cost pens, I find that the piston has a lot of play in it.
Well, I'm not sure if I want to. So now that it's sort of fully retracted, it's stiff. Let's see if I get ink all over me if I try it now. No, it's actually fairly. It's actually a bit more. It's actually a bit stiffer than I would like. So it's in the other direction of what you're thinking of. Yeah, but it's. I mean, for such a pen, it's actually pretty good, I think.
I mean, I like a piston that's. I like a stiff piston. The play that you tend to get on some of the pens when you've got them fully inked Oh no, I just don't like it.
Okay.
So like that one, which one was it? I think it was one of the Pen BBS ones that you gave me, the one that had the locking piston, or was it a Wing Sung?
Yeah, that Wing Sung, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually liked what that piston did because that locking made up for the fact that it was kind of a loose piston until you locked it in. Then it was like, okay, that's a nice piston.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I like the fact that I don't know. I mean, not actually having the pen, not being able to try it. The fact that it's got a more secure piston mechanism kind of makes me sit there and go, maybe I want to try it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It also makes me wonder why like higher end brands have pistons that feel like an AK-47.
Yeah.
If you've ever field stripped an AK-47 and put it back together, those tolerances are so loose you could drive a semi through them.
Okay.
Oh, and now I know why you liked this Diplomat better than mine. You got the orange one.
Yeah. Okay. So next pen, a Diplomat Arrow.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to buy yours because it was silver and it had a broad nib. But I still wanted one, so I asked around a bit, and then someone said, "Yeah, I have mine. I've inked it twice. Here is it for a pretty good price. Do you want it?" And of course, I had to buy it. Yeah. So now I also have a Diplomat Arrow. So it's the orange one with the medium nib. So exactly what I wanted. And yeah, also currently inked. Also a pretty nice pen. And you can really
very nice.
You can really tell the difference with that, and you can really tell that they changed the cap mechanism because this one is much stiffer and it doesn't rotate around like the other one, the one I had to try.
When I sold the one that I used for the review, some people were asking if it was like the good cap or not, and so I went ahead and filmed a demonstration video to put on the Pen Addict Slack, and I was sitting there shaking that pen as hard as I could, trying to get the cap to fly off, and it held pretty good.
Yeah, actually, I must say it's a bit too stiff for me. Actually, I would prefer it to be somewhere in between the two I had, between this one and the other, because we really need to pull to get the cap off.
I'm kind of like a bull in a china shop, so for me, it was kind of the right stiffness as far as a pull cap goes.
Okay.
A lot of the other pull cap pens I had, like the Pelican P381, that one, like you barely put any pressure on it and the cap goes flying halfway across the room.
Okay.
So, I mean, the new Diplomat caps, I thought they did a good job actually changing them up because I did have a chance to try one of the version 1 Diplomats. Yeah, no, just way too loose. It felt like that Pelican cap.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it was super loose. That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't hear the rattling that people were complaining of, but I don't know. I could definitely feel that it wasn't sitting as tight as it probably should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. If I use it a bit more, maybe it sort of loosens up a tiny bit, and then it's probably in the right amount.
Maybe not. But are you going to keep using Pilot Blue Black in it? Or what do you have in it?
I have one of the new Lamy crystal inks in it.
Oh, how are those?
So I have a barrel that is like a pink magenta. So that's I got a sample from Danny. Yeah. So that one is super nice. It's fairly wet, and it also has a tiny bit of a gold sheen, which is great.
Okay.
Yeah. So I already used up my sample, and now I need to buy a bottle.
I need to get a few of those. I keep looking at them, and it's just like I need to get them.
Yeah. So how much are they in the US?
They're $12.80 in the US.
Okay, so basically the same price, yeah.
Yeah, roughly.
That's good. I mean, compared to something like a Safari, which is much more expensive in the US.
Yeah, how much is a Safari? There we go. No, Lamy doesn't start with Leonardo. Wow, Safari's $29.
Okay, yeah, you can get them for 15 here.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're sort of your basic school fountain pen. So
I don't think there is such a thing as a real basic school fountain pen over here. I think we talked about it one time.
yeah, that's true.
Either that or was it on this podcast? It was one of the podcasts, but yeah, I mean, here we really don't focus on writing nearly as much as we should anymore. One of my viewers on YouTube was actually commenting on that my handwriting looked atrocious. And they aren't wrong.
Yeah, I mean, on the other hand, there's also many Germans that have ugly horrible handwriting. So I'm not sure if that's really if it has much to do with that.
Well, I mean, from the time I was 13 until the time I was 28. No, it was from the time I was 13 to the time I was 31. The only time I ever picked up a pen was to sign my initials or sign my name. Everything else I'd ever done was typed.
Yeah, I never stopped using. I all through university, everything was on paper, basically. Even though I was studying computer science.
I'm starting to notice a weird thing about that. My best friend is actually a computer scientist.
Mm-hmm.
And he has more journals of handwritten notes than any of the other people I know that majored in other things.
Yeah, maybe it's sort of to sort of balance out everything, right? You spend all your time on a computer, so you have to do something else.
I mean, I'm starting to get that way now that my entire life pretty much revolves around computers. I use every chance I get to use pen and paper just to break the monotony and just make sure that I'm not developing muscle memory in the wrong ways again.
Mm-hmm.
And it also helps me remember some things.
Yeah, and it's also fun. You need some enjoyment while doing other things as well, I think.
Oh yeah, that's definitely the case. I mean, doodling is a good way to pass the time when you're doing things that would otherwise be just boring without it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Or sitting there and getting inks ready for an ink review so you did an ink drop and you're watching the pools of ink slowly dry and develop sheen on the outer edges. I'm actually kind of doing that with Tasha Bugoisu, or however you say it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that green one. And I'm looking at the edge of it right now because I did the drop right before we started recording. And it actually sheens to red.
Yeah, but something like what's it? Sailor Mirai, the dark green one that also sheens reddish, right? So I think that's not surprising.
Why do green inks sheen red? Like, especially the ones that aren't supposed to be sheeners.
I don't know. Why do blue inks sheen red?
Okay, there's got to be some kind of red conspiracy in the fountain pen ink world. We're going to blow this wide open, Urban. This is our time to shine. We're going to blow this conspiracy wide open. Ink makers, why are you sheening red? What are you trying to tell us here? Is there some kind of anti-gold conspiracy going on? What if I want a purple sheen? Huh? Wow. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just drink my coffee now.
Mm-hmm. Back to pens. Did we talk about pens? I'm not sure.
Well, you've got two Fountain Pen Revolution pens sitting there.
Yes. So I did get this Fountain Pen Revolution Yvgenii Junior. It took a while to arrive, so I bought it and I sent it to Jim in November, I think. Mm-hmm. And then he took it with him to Paris, I think in December. and gave it to Anna. And then it sort of, life got busy, and then it stayed there until, well, very recently. Yeah, I bought the pen with this FPR Ultra Flex nib. So this is so they have this standard flex nib, which has this really long slit, and on this Ultra Flex nib, they also cut out some of the metal on the side to make it more flexible. Yeah, so this is the second, a bit more expensive Indian pen we talk about today, and it also had some issues. So
okay.
First, I tried it with a cartridge. So the first cartridge was fine. It's a super wet pen. The nib is really cool, so that was fun. And then I put in the second cartridge, and at some point I wanted to check if there was still ink in there. So I unscrewed the barrel, and then somehow there was ink in there. So either the pen leaks or the cartridge, the second cartridge was a bum. I don't know. And then I thought, okay, let's try something else. So I tried to eyedropper the pen. And yeah, that didn't quite work because ink just kept dripping out of it from the nib.
Okay.
So it was super wet, but a bit too wet.
That's never a good combination.
And it came with a converter. So supposedly, well, it is a standard international converter. I also tried fitting other converters, but those are too long because the pen is a bit on the shorter side, I guess. Yeah, there it worked, sort of, but then the pen wasn't as wet. I don't know. Maybe it was the ink I used because I changed inks. I don't know.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, I don't know. And then I thought, okay, now I'm for now I'm giving up on that pen, and I just pull out the nib and put it into a pen BBS pen, and now it's perfect.
Which pen BBS pen did you throw it in?
The acrylic 323.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I could have probably bought the nib just on its own instead of buying it with a pen, but yeah. Let's see. Maybe I'll just fit in another nib into that pen at some point, because it is a nice pen actually. It functions very well. If you don't, I don't know, maybe it's just a nib that is too wet for general use. I don't know. But yeah, I don't seem to have really much luck with Indian pens. I don't know. Apart from the really cheap freebies, those are always great. I don't know.
See, when you said pen BBS, I thought you were talking about the next pen on our show notes.
Yeah. And then I also got a pen BBS 323. They also started making them in aluminum. And they sort of changed it a tiny bit. So they put the threads right at the front where the nib is. And they sort of have a fake cap band that is then under the cap when you screw on the cap, which is also an interesting feature.
I was about to say, I actually like the look of it.
Yeah. And it's I'm not sure if, it says it's made of aluminum, but it's actually fairly heavy for an aluminum pen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's saying aluminum alloy, so I'm kind of wondering, is it aluminum? What is it? And then their website doesn't help much because it says the material is acrylic, but aluminum's not an acrylic. So they may have just copied and pasted the description
from the other pen BBS. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's looking like.
Yeah, I mean that is the one pen of the all the ones I got that I haven't inked yet. But I mean, it's pen BBS. You can just unscrew the nib units, and I have so many by now. I should just, if the nib doesn't work, but I mean, it looks good. But if it doesn't really work, I can just use any of the others I have.
I was about to say, it's pretty much just I don't know. I mean, Pen BBS has some really interesting things. It's just, I don't know what it is, but I just can't get into them like I do other brands.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
if you show me a Pelican, I'm like, wow, that's like, take my money now. But the Pen BBS, even though they look really cool, I look at some of them and I'm like, meh.
at least one of us doesn't buy all of them.
I can live my Pen BBS fantasies vicariously through you.
Yes, that's true. I have basically every model. Well, not the metal ones mostly, but all the others.
Give it time. Give it time.
Yeah.
I expect to see one of the show notes.
if I give it time, then they're sort of out of stock and they are not producing them anymore.
I just expect to show up one of these days and the show notes say, I officially have every Pen BBS pen. And it's like, there we go. We knew it was going to happen eventually.
I wouldn't even know how many pens they've made because, I mean, like many of the Chinese producers, they produce a pen for some months or a year, and then they move on to the next one. So
right.
I don't even know.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think in this case we do know, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then you've got 2 other pens here.
Yes. So I managed to get a 15% discount code for Appelboom, and I basically bought 2 pens. And yeah, so I bought the Opus 88 Omar, which was really, really close to the free shipping. And then I added a Kaweco Sport, one of the frosted models. So I was, it was like, I think it was 50 cents below the free shipping limit. And shipping was 15 euros or so. And then I added the 20 euro Kaweco Sport. But then it was free shipping. So I basically paid 5 euros for the Kaweco.
There you go.
So I tell myself. Yes.
I think you chose very well on the Opus 88 color.
Yeah, I got the purple one. I think that is the best color.
I'm trying to wrap my head around whether or not I actually want to get one to review. And if so, which color to get. That purple looks nice. And if I do it, I'll probably get the purple.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a really nice pen. I mean, it writes perfect out of the box. I don't know what your experiences are, but mine is super wet.
My experience with the pen in and of itself, they write beautifully. It's not the nib I have an issue with. It's just the size.
Yeah, I mean, this one is like, it's a huge pen. I don't know if that's good or bad for you.
No, in this case, that would be a good thing. The other Opus 88s have been way too small.
Yeah, this is really, really big. I don't know even. I don't even know how big.
I mean, case in point, that's kind of why I sold my Franklin Christoph 45 without even reviewing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It was just way too small. And even though it had the type of nib I wanted, because I really wanted a Masuyama fine cursive italic, I couldn't make it work. And every time I sat down to try to go ahead and formulate, okay, how do I want to do the review? What am I going to talk about? I kept circling back around to this pen is too small for me. And I can't give a fair review to a pen that I have something in the back of my head going, you're going to probably mess up on the review because you're not going to be able to write things good enough. And there's a lot of people out there that like smaller pens, and me doing an inadequate review on that pen is not going to help the community. So it's like, just don't do the review.
Yeah.
So someone else now has that pen, which I'm glad it went to someone that wants them.
Yeah, that's also nice. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That, and I've got like 6 other pens to review, so I've got quite a bit of a backlog, especially with like 20 inks.
Okay. Yeah.
And a whole bunch of coffee.
So you're continuing with the coffee reviews?
Yep, continuing with the coffee.
Yes, so you might enjoy that Omar I mean, my only issue is that it's like 3 turns to uncap. That's a bit. I mean, there are similarities to the Ranga, also in size. It's basically the same size. I just didn't have to do anything to the pen.
Okay, see, now you've got me wondering how many turns some of my pens are.
I mean, a pelican is maybe 1 turn.
Well, okay. So, like my Nakaya. 1. Okay, no, that's a 1 turn. Okay, which one of these feels like it's got a lot of turns? Oh, yeah, this one. Definitely this one. Okay, so this Herbert Pen Company pen. It's a 2.5 turner.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I feel like I'm turning forever to get it done.
Yeah. And now you add half a turn more, and then you have the Opus 88.
Okay, so that would drive me nuts. If it took 3 turns to get that would drive me nuts.
I mean, this is the one, like I said, one of the downsides. Or the one downside, I guess.
Yeah, the Karas Customs Decograph I had to take the section off the body was like 7 turns.
Okay, but I mean, you don't do that as often.
When you're trying to troubleshoot nib problems because it's a Bach nib, yeah, you do it more often than you want to.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, I was probably taking that pen apart at least 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah. Yeah, in that case, it's not so nice.
No, it wasn't. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead, call it night, and you go ahead, get some shut-eye. I'm going to get some shut-eye, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.
Bye.